served.
The court will sentence you to 70 years to Montana State Prison.
A teenager convicted in the shooting death of a Rocky Mountain College football player learns his sentence for a senseless crime.
I'm Jonathan Amberian in Helena. If you're a homeowner in Montana, chances are you may have received a letter like this one telling you about some big changes coming to the property tax system. I'll have a closer look at how the legislature's changes from earlier this year are now going to impact property tax bills.
And semifinal Friday for high school football as West and Central try to punch their tickets to a state championship. The MTN 10 o'clock news starts right now.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. 75 years in prison. The sentence handed down this afternoon for 18-year-old Sidney Cruz DeCrane. DeCrane pled guilty this past summer in the 2023 shooting death of Chandler Stelcup, a Rocky Mountain College football player. Several dozen of Stelcup's family and friends made the trip from Florida to be in the courtroom today. Our Isabel Spartz was there as well.
It was an emotional courtroom Friday afternoon as 18-year-old Sidney Cruz DeCrane Jr. was sentenced to 75 years in prison for the 2023 shooting of Rocky football player Chandler Stelcup.
The court will sentence you to 70 years to Montana State Prison.
The judge handing down the full recommended sentence by the prosecution. Over 40 friends and family members traveled from the 18-year-old's hometown of Crystal River, Florida, to hear the judge's sentence. Words his father Shane says he's been waiting more than 2 years to hear.
Today has just been an emotional roller coaster of letting everybody know what kind of a person Chandler was.
On October 28, 2023, Stelcup, who was a freshman at Rocky, was called by a teammate asking to be picked up at a house party where a fight broke out. According to charging documents, DeCrane and a group of others chased down Stelcup's car before shooting him in the head through the car window. He later died in a hospital. Stelcup was deemed an innocent victim.
He literally woke up every day trying to be better than he was the day before.
Judge Donald Harris delivered the sentence, stating that the crime was unprovoked and pointed out DeCrane's previous criminal history. The driver of the vehicle who chased down Stelcup, Garrett Dorr III, was sentenced back in April to 60 years in prison. Over a dozen loved ones shared impact statements about Stelcup's character and his selfless ability to always help others.
Chandler was simply being Chandler. Playing games in his room that night, he got the call that a teammate needed a ride, and he went to pick him up. You executed my son in cold blood.
His death was felt in both Florida and Montana, impacting Rocky football players and head coach Chris Stutzriem.
Unfortunately, I can't look another parent in the eyes and tell them I will protect their son, because I don't know that outcome anymore.
DeCrane and several family members did address the court as well to express remorse.
I understand it doesn't matter how many years I get, it won't bring Chandler back or take away your grief.
His sentence includes a possibility for parole in 20 years. Live Like Chan is the motto his family has created in his honor, seen around his hometown, and a reminder they'll continue to carry with them.
I have no doubt in my mind that everybody will always remember Chandler and the great person that he was.
In Billings, Isabel Spartz, MTN News.
President Trump is asking the Justice Department and FBI to investigate convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's involvement with several prominent Democrats, including former President Bill Clinton. This as members of the House Oversight Committee this week released more than 20,000 pages of documents provided by Epstein's estate. CBS News review reveals Trump's name appears hundreds of times. Annie Farmer, who said she was abused by Epstein when she was 16, told CBS why she wants the Justice Department to release all its files on the case.
This trickle of information is really difficult, right? We're just asking for the full files to be released so we don't have to continue to live, in this roller coaster world.
President Trump, who's denied any wrongdoing, again called it a hoax pushed by Democrats and criticized some Republicans for falling into their clutches, including Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, who Trump said tonight on Truth Social that he will no longer support or endorse. President Trump is said to be weighing options to dramatically escalate the use of the military in combating drug cartels in South America. The U.S. has nearly a dozen ships as well as 12,000 sailors and Marines in that region to put pressure on Venezuela. More than 20 vessels have been destroyed as part of Operation Southern Spear, alleging the vessels were smuggling drugs to the U.S. Trump is reportedly considering expanding military operations, including possible strikes inside the country. From Sheridan to Rapid City, a large area across northeastern Wyoming and the Black Hills spent part of Thursday in the dark, the result of a massive power outage that created a few problems in Sheridan. Many gas stations weren't able to function, and those who rely on some medical devices and oxygen tanks had to go to a charging location on the fairgrounds. Traffic lights in the city weren't working. Police say that led to a few fender benders around town. The power finally returning Thursday evening.
There was two main transmission lines that tripped, and as a result of those tripping, it caused cascading effects that all of the power distributors were not able to provide power adequately to all the residents in those areas.
We're told those lines that were tripped were over in Medicine Bow. All right, time for our first check of the weather on this Friday night as we look out at the lights of the Magic City. Saw a little rain earlier in Billings. How's it shaping up for the weekend? Here's meteorologist Jason Stiff with a first look at the forecast.
Well, thankfully, we've had a little bit of light rain around parts of Montana and northern Wyoming, but not as much as we would like to have. We've also had a little bit more wind than we really wanted, but we still have some areas of rain showers from parts of Bighorn County eastward all the way toward Carter County. Areas around Broadus, around Powder River County. Some light rain shower activity, but then we head further to north. Colder air is coming out of Saskatchewan and Alberta, so some light snow is trying to fall from Havre all the way toward Glasgow. It won't amount to very much, but we're not done yet because all that cold air continues to sink southward and eastwards. Looking at our forecast through tomorrow morning, the northeastern corner of the state has a chance for some rain and snow mixes, also some more gusty wind. I have a complete 7-day forecast coming up.
Across Montana, homeowners are starting to see the first evidence of the changes lawmakers made to property taxes earlier this year. But the arguments over tax legislation that started during the legislative session are still playing out now. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian has a closer look at what the impacts have been so far and what's coming next.
After 4 months of discussion and debate at the Montana legislature, lawmakers eventually rolled out a pair of bills that completely reshaped Montana's property tax rates. This year, the new rates are graduated, so homes worth more pay a higher rate. Governor Greg Gianforte and his allies have praised the impacts of the new system. The governor's office shared statistics this week from the Montana Department of Revenue, saying about 80% of Montana homes will see their property tax cut, and another 10% will remain flat.
The median house in every area is lower, so it is doing on residential what it meant to do.
Representative Lou Jones, a Republican from Conrad, was one of the main backers of the legislature's property tax reform. He says without the changes, an even bigger share of the property tax burden would have landed on residences.
In particular, the upper end residential, and in certain portions of the state, the market value went up and continued to increase. So, yeah, the pull onto residential from the other classes would have generally continued.
But Senator Carl Glimm, a Republican from Kyla, says he's hearing from people unhappy with the changes as well.
A lot of commercial people are seeing their property taxes go up, and that transfers into just we're hurting Montana business. We're supposed to be a pro-business state. We're supposed to be looking out for the mom and pop shop, and really what we're doing there is raising their costs, which means that they have to pass them on to the consumer.
Glimm had advocated for using state tax revenue to offset property taxes, which he said would have allowed for real reductions rather than simply shifting the burden.
The state has had a lot of money in the last few years, but we haven't been willing to put any of that towards property tax relief. And that's, I think, what needs to happen.
Don't get too used to the property tax rates you're seeing this year. They're only temporary. Next year, a new homestead tax system will be implemented. That means lower property tax rates on primary residences, long-term rentals, and smaller commercial properties, but higher rates on properties that don't qualify. You will need to apply in order to receive the homestead rate, but many homeowners will have received letters like this one in the last month, saying they're automatically qualified to receive the homestead rate if they received the tax rebate on primary residences earlier this year. Jones says he expects most people who qualify for the homestead exemption on their home will get automatically enrolled, but those who don't, as well as people with long-term rentals, will need to apply starting December 1st. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.